Welcome back, everyone, from the lunch break. I hope you enjoyed the offered food, and there's a lot of variety, so I hope you found something that's good for you. So to continue with our CEO series, we'll be now having a chat with the CEO of one of the leading telecom operator companies in Jordan and the region, Zain Jordan, who have a very engaging corporate social responsibility program that contributes to communities. They also have a corporate entrepreneurship responsibility program, which we'll be hearing a little bit more about in a minute, to talk about the journey from infrastructure to community. So please help me welcome on stage the CEO of Zain Jordan, Ahmad Al Hanandeh. I don't know if I said that properly, who will be interviewed by the CEO of Arabnet, Omar Christidis.
Hello, Ahmad. Thank you for joining us today in this interview. We wanted to show a small video about Zinc to give you an idea about what we're talking about here. Zain Jordan was an innovator, I would say regionally and globally, in launching a very strong and dynamic offering for the entrepreneurial community and for innovators in Jordan. The space, Zinc, is now just about a year old, and we're privileged to have Mr. Ahmad Hanandeh with us today to tell us a little bit more about why they got into working with startups and how telecom operators and companies more broadly should be engaging with the digital community. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Omar, and thank you for the invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here, first in Lebanon, second with Arabnet, among this wonderful crowd of startups and startup supporters.
Let's dive right in. Let's talk about how Zain started. How did this initiative start? Why did you get into this space? Where did the idea come from?
Actually, you know, in telecom, everybody is talking about the transformation, and we're no different. At Zain Jordan, we were trying to find our way through transformation and moving into digital era and have people more dependent on the internet and respond to the changing behavior of the people and the consumers, where they are actually getting more dependent on the internet, and the younger the subscriber is, the more dependent he is. The young subscribers today, they hardly make or use any traditional telecom services. They're most of the time online. So accordingly, we started to talk about the transformation, and we started to build our future strategy to be towards digitalizing our services, our infrastructure, monetizing our infrastructure better, monetizing the huge investment we put into data and data rollout in Jordan. And we were reading an article for Mr. Fadi Ghandour at that time, talking about corporate entrepreneurial responsibility and the importance of having this as a dedicated division within the organization. We loved the idea. We spoke to Wanda. They came in and we said, we want to start this division within Zain. Zain has a CSR division that is 20 years old. We said it's time where CER, which is the corporate entrepreneurial responsibility, moves out of social responsibility and be a separate division, because it plays a role of bridging the relation with the youth and the entrepreneurs and the startups, and at the same time define our role in the online world and into the digital world. We started the CER division, and it started by a competition of Zain Al-Mubadara. Zain Al-Mubadara was a competition to incubate 12 ideas and help them to mature into projects on the ground. We selected 12 projects, and while we were talking to the entrepreneurs, we realized we tried to identify what do they exactly need, and how can we help them more, and how can we link to a bigger number of entrepreneurs and startups. And there where the team sat and brainstormed, and we decided to start Zain Innovation Campus, which is what we have on the ground today in Jordan, and it's the main arm for the CER division at Zain. It's the place where run most of our activities, programs and events that has to do with the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Jordan, and it became actually an important pillar of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Jordan.
So It sounds like this came out of a real need that you saw. You wanted to be engaged. You saw that the landscape of telecom was shifting, and you saw that there is a new opportunity that needed to be captured.
True.
What are the goals, if this is the context? What are, the KPIs that you're using to measure the success of the initiative for you as a business?
The main objective of starting the overall initiatives that we had at Zain related to the entrepreneurial ecosystem is actually to define our role into the online world. Today, we cannot deny the fact that the virtual world is becoming real, and it's competing with the real world. In the real world, you'll need infrastructure. You'll need schools, you'll need universities, hospitals, roads, grid system, water, drainage. On the online world, it's totally different. And the telecom operators need to define their role and their presence within the online world. Offline, they see us, and they know that we are part of the system, part of the infrastructure, and we are a necessity today, not a luxury service. On the online world, what we give them is only the access into the online. But the minute they go online and they disconnect from the real world and they live in their virtual environment, they don't see us. So it was initiated from there, where we have to go as a brand, as a company, we have to go into the online world. The infrastructure we need over there is different. The brand presence in the online world is different. The interaction with the community and with the customers is totally different. The diversification of the services that we need to offer is totally different, and we cannot do this alone. We'll have to do this in partnership with so many other sectors. The most important sector, because we're talking about technology here, the most important sector is the sector of entrepreneurs, startups, and growth companies. It's the sector of SMEs. It's the sector of creativity, innovation.
But I'm sure you're measuring the outcomes. Can you share with us any statistics about how the project has progressed and what value it's delivered?
It's the numbers that we are achieving, and at the end of the day, there are different objectives set for Zinc and for the CAR division. One of the objectives is to connect to a big community of startups and entrepreneurs. Today, we have registered members within this community that exceeds around 3,000 to 4,000 members.
3,000 to 4,000 members as part of the Zinc community who are startups.
Registered. When we send invitations, we have a registration for around 3,000 people who continuously attend our events. There were events related to the knowledge base, and that we want to create awareness about so many things related to the entrepreneurial and technology entrepreneurial in specific. We had 150 events attended by around 17,000 people over 1 year. That means around 12 to 13 events per month in different subjects. We had a NASA scientist, we had a vice president from Google, we had Prince Charles coming in a session. Queen Rania came and sat with the entrepreneurs at the Zain Innovation Campus. We have people who did graphic design sessions. We have people who did intellectual property session. So it has been so diversified. We run startup competitions. We did the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year for Jordan judging, and the whole event was run at Zinc. So we did 150 events, which is more than what we expected. We have around 32 companies fully incubated at Zain. They get the support from Zain. Zain is their main customer. They either do their job from Zain offices or Zinc offices. They do business with Zain, and they have a sustainable revenue from Zain. Or we support them logistically, where we actually link them, and this is a main role of Zinc actually. We bridge the gap between the startups and the entrepreneurs and the rest of the sectors in the country. So we managed actually to link startups and entrepreneurs with other companies, not necessarily with Zain. who are actually strategic partners with Zinc. We have 72 strategic partners, and this is one of the objectives that
And
we
strategic partner, what do you mean by that? What kind of
strategic
companies are we
partners,
talking about?
we have from all segments and sectors in Jordan, a representation for all sectors like Industrial Group, Manasir Group. It's a 17 companies group, around $2 billion investment in Jordan, and if not more. We have Nuqul Group, automobile and industrial as well. We have venture capitals. I'm just giving examples. I don't memorize the 72.
Yeah, of course. But it's quite diverse.
Venture capitals. We have 500 startups, Silicon Valley. We have WAMDA. Funds operating and NGOs operating in Jordan. We have Injaz, Endeavor, USAID. They're all strategic partners with Zinc. Banks, we have 5 banks in Jordan. Financial and management consultation, we have Ernst & Young as a strategic partner.
So this is all well and good. If we say you've done quite an impressive amount of engaging with the startup community. Now here becomes the question of how does this tie into your bottom line, right? As a commercial entity, you're investing a lot of resources into building these relationships with startups. What do you see as the commercial returns? Have you started seeing commercial returns?
We do, not directly into revenues actually, and not yet into revenues, but it's coming to impact revenue and to improve our revenue, our new revenue stream channels. Yet we have companies who does actually a lot of work for us, like in terms of applications, in terms of giveaways, in terms of e-commerce platforms that we offer it to our subscribers as a value-added service at the moment, but it's going to be a revenue generating one day or the other. We have people who actually help us in media and reach and brand presence outside Amman. We have, as I said, 32 companies are actually directly engaged to Zain. When we say directly engaged to Zain, they do services for Zain.
So they are more of suppliers for you. They become suppliers
at
for
the
you.
moment. They're basically either content partners, which means we have one of them actually here. I cannot see her. Ruba Abdel Hadi Al Moda signed with Zain. Ruba actually offers a fashion content, and it's an e-commerce platform from Harrods in UK. Ruba is going to be one of the services that are being offered through the common platform of Zain. There is Cash Basha, where the Amazon, Ruba is just coming into the room. Cash Basha is the Amazon ordering solution with a direct operator billing, where we sort out the payment issues as well. We have Caramelt, who are actually doing our toffee giveaways to the customers, and they are with us in every event. We have a company who does the startup videos, and they do the corporate videos for us, a 1-minute video, 1-minute Marvel. So there are so many companies who are actually adding big value to us as Zain. Today, most of the values we are getting are basically indirect values. I cannot tell you, how do we measure that, but at the end of the day, our link to the community, our presence within the community, the impact that we have of this space in the way of how the people in the company thinks, the culture that changed, the number of creative ideas that comes into our offices every day for the last 1 year from the people within the organization and from the people outside the organization is amazing. It is a complete transformation in culture, to be honest, and this is what we were looking for. That transformation is achieved. Now this transformation is going to serve us for the future by utilizing that transformation, utilizing this link to the community of startups and entrepreneurs, utilizing the infrastructure and the ecosystem that we built for us within this community, utilizing the strategic partnerships and alliances that we have with our partners into creating new revenue streams or new value for the company.
Great. I think that you've really highlighted a few really important benefits. Cultural change, I think that was a key focus of yours.
True.
Community building, and it sounds like there's a lot of, and I feel like there is CSR and PR are often seen as similar, right? Like you're spending your money, but you're spending it to also get a return on investment in the form of exposure or community building. But it does sound like for you it was an internal thing as well, very much strongly about building that kind of innovation culture.
Yes. Here, to
How
be
does,
honest,
how does your board feel about this? Do you come back to them and say, I've spent X millions of dollars? How much do you spend on zinc? Would you be willing to share that with us?
And I'll tell you my real experience with the board and the management of
Yes.
Of Zain. At the beginning, when we wanted to start zinc, and we told them the original investment that we need to put into zinc, actually. There was I wouldn't say there was a rejection, but there was some concerns. But because the board and the management believed we have to go into that direction, so they gave us the green light, and we went into that direction, and we managed to achieve it in a record time, and we started the operation.
Can I say it's a multi-million-dollar project?
It is.
Excellent.
It is.
Good. So multi-million dollars invested in this project.
Yeah, it is.
And the board bought into it, and today how do they feel about it?
Now, you know that there will be people who are doing the financial analysis at the group side, and they will going and reporting, Zain Jordan is spending too much on zinc. They're spending too much on the startup projects. We even invested in venture capitals like 500 startups in Wamda, and we put so far Jordan has put a total investment of around $2.5 million into venture capitals to support the startups in Jordan. And there were some concerns raised later on, what is the value that this is generating, how does it pay back to the company, and so on and so forth. But the minute they started to go meetings all over the place and across the region, and Zinc has positioned itself as a real serious member of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Middle East region, not only in Jordan. And it's being a milestone actually for the Jordanian ecosystem, startup ecosystem, and the impact that it had on the brand of Zain, and the alignment that Zinc objectives is between Zinc objectives and the Zain main objectives. Today, there is no place they go and they don't talk about Zinc, and that they want to replicate this experience across all Zain operations in the region. So we have a direct request from the group.
I hope we'll be able to benefit from that here. We have a Zain operation here, so.
True. We had a visit, actually. We have a representation from MTC Touch here, our colleagues in Lebanon. And we had a visit, actually. And they are doing so much, to be honest. And they are already in support for startups and entrepreneurs in Lebanon. And it's worth mentioning that MTC Touch, their basic work on the entrepreneurial and the transformation and digitalization of services made Zain to come and invest into a company that is in Lebanon, which is FU, a company who does mobile applications and telecom digital solutions, where Zain today owns 51% of the company.
Well, so two things I'll tell you about that. One, I don't know that is public information, but it is exciting information nonetheless. But two, we're very proud that FU has.
I think it's public. It was announced in the media.
But beyond that, we're very proud because FU was one of the first startups that pitched at Arabnet in 2010. So in our first year of events, FU was a team of 2 people, and they pitched at this event.
Great.
So we're very proud of them as a success story. In any case, I'm going to try to turn my last questions into one because we're short on time. What have you learned working with the entrepreneurs? How have you changed the way that you operate as an organization to be able to be more effectively a partner for the entrepreneurs? What are the kinds of steps that you would suggest for other corporates looking to engage with the entrepreneurial community?
It starts internally, to be honest. Our starting point was by creating the CER division. That's where we started. And that's where we had to start the journey of changing the way we think as people, because the culture of the organization is a reflection of the way the people working in that organization think and what they believe in and how they can see into future. So we started that internally, and accordingly from there, it was not an easy journey. It took us some time. We had our own failures into finding our way through this system. We had to learn ourselves. We had to attend so many events like this. We had to be part of a big number of events like this, interacting with the entrepreneurs, understanding how they think, understanding their vision, and bridging the gap between a corporate like Zain with 1,350 employees and a big budget and a big profits, talking to a startup or an entrepreneur who only has an idea, and finding the time, to be honest, the time that we can spend with these companies and understand the value of these companies to this big brand.
How did you do that internally? How did you structure it?
We had to go through a continuous, actually it was a plan where it was a continuous plan of continuous events, continuous initiatives, continuous.
You mentioned to me that they have direct access. There's a department that reports directly into you on this front.
What we did is, once we realized the value of the work that the startups and the SMEs are doing, what we did is we created a team within the commercial team called Strategic Alliances and Partnerships. And this team that works into strategic alliances and partnerships actually reports directly into the CEO office for them to get a fast decision, for them to shorten the cycle. What we realized, one of the main obstacles for startups is when they come to an organization like Zain with the lengthy process of procurement and the lengthy process of approvals. Every contract we sign, before I sign it, it has to be initiated by like 20 people. So we said, no, this part, take it out, and we don't need the initial signatures, all the initiations that you do. I'll take the risk and sign it straight away. Okay, only the legal sign before me, and then I sign immediately. So the process became very short, and we signed so many contracts actually within few days. They were signed, and they will roll out, and they are in operation at the moment.
And last thing, you mentioned to me that you always, when you talk to your friends, what you tell them about this space, that the advice that you would give for other corporates looking into entering and building relationships with the digital community.
To be honest, we were in Barcelona this year, and I have been, there are 8 booths, 8 halls in Barcelona, huge, 100,000 people attend that conference. I have been going there for the last 5 years. This year we have taken with us from Jordan 4 startups. And personally, when I went there, usually I go all over the place. This year, the only place I visited, and actually I spent a long time in, was the place allocated for startups and entrepreneurs. Because it became, today, and I keep telling our senior people, and I keep telling myself every day I look into my face to the mirror, okay, and I say, my experience and all what I have learned over the years, okay, with the transformation that is happening worldwide, and when I look at my kids and how do they think and how do they do business and how do they look into their future, and I say, I'm competing with the young people. I'm competing, me and them knows as much as each other. And they sometimes they beat me and they know better actually. So today when my son asks me a question and I give him the answer, okay, he'll come the next day and say, Dad, I Googled your answer, you're wrong. Because the answer you gave me is not the same answer Google says. And when he wants to order his food, he goes and rate the restaurant. So if we say we are going to this restaurant, he comes to me and this is rated 3.5. There is another restaurant rated 4.5. So today, this is the generation we're going to deal with. The requirements, I don't know it. People who just graduated from school, who just graduated from university, knows our future customers more than we do. And they are the people who need to help us to build the infrastructure to accommodate that new generation who's coming up, who's very familiar with technology, who knows better than us, who actually, they don't believe in the same things that we believe in, and they want technology to be the platform for their lifestyle. Okay, so today we have to open up as big organizations, and I said in the interview before, I'm in love with the article wrote by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum when he said, the Fortune 500 companies, they used to exist 1955. What is left from them today is 11% only. Those companies' lifetime, average lifetime was 75 years. So before, the average lifetime of an organization is 75 years. Today, and the latest study says, the average lifetime of an organization is 15 years. How do you want, okay, to live more than 15 years? There is one answer to that, and only one answer. It's the innovation. It's for governments to think about it, because what he said is, yes, governments also who they don't evolve and they don't catch up with the changes and they don't change with the revolution of technology, they will fail. And they are gonna be forgotten, and they will not achieve the growth that they need. Same goes for private sector, same goes for the individual level. Okay, so accordingly, these are the lessons learned. If you go, learning from the history is not enough. Connecting the history to the present and see how it changed and why it changed and why this happened, and understanding the root cause of it, it all leads you to one thing. If you resist change, you are gonna be out of business. And if you don't catch up, you're gonna be out of business. And
I think on this note, we will have to wrap up, but innovate or die, I believe, is your key message. Yes. Innovate or die. Thank you very much, Mr. Hanandeh, for being with us. Pleasure to have you. Thank you for the audience.
Thanks.